nefashos. There's a real risk of loss of life. Rahman al I don't even want to say it. For people to get together with people that they haven't seen in a while and mix this Siddur.
All right, I'm starting.
You were maintaining our distance.
How
Oh,
come
you're starting your thing. End meeting, it says.
No, I'm recording. I pressed recording.
Okay. Well, I'll get out of your way.
Well, I didn't know how long it would take me to get set up. But what happened is once I did pause it.
Okay.
I stopped the video.
Huh?
Okay, I am checking in with whoever might be on.
Did you start your audio? Start your...
Okay, I am going to get started.
Okay.
And okay, I believe so far David and Jerry are here.
No, just Jerry. You and Jerry. This is you. You're not David Cheslow, but that's what it says.
Okay, so we'll see if anyone else will
Join or watch later.
join. We are recording. Okay, I'm going to begin today's Gemara Shiur in a moment, and we will be starting quickly with the Mishnah on the bottom of Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Okay, and then continue from there. Okay. Here we go. All right. Our Mishnah on Yud Zayin Amud Beis is where we're starting. The Mishnah says, Matnitin. Our Mishnah is going to deal with a number of situations where it may be that behaviors on Shabbat are prohibited in terms of the fact of when you start the activity, what happens if it continues on its own into Shabbat itself? In other words, you've started the activity Erev Shabbat, but on its own it continues into Shabbat. Is that to be permitted or not? Right? And so we get underway. The Mishnah says, Beit Shammai Omrim, according to Beit Shammai, Ein Shorin Dio, we do not soak dry ink, right? Usmanim, nor do we soak any kinds of dyes, v'karshinin, or any kind of plants like vetch. Ele kadei sheyishvuru miba'od yom, unless it's possible to soak it during the day, right? And therefore finish that soaking, okay, before Shabbat. Beit Hillel omrim, right, matirin. But Beit Hillel permits this. Beit Shammai, giving another example, okay? Omrim, ein notnin onin, shel pishtam latoch hatanur. We do not place bundles of flax inside an oven, right? Ela kadei sheyahavilu miba'od yom, unless it's possible, okay, for them to be steeped or soaked. In other words, the dried up in such a way before Shabbat starts. V'lo et tzemer liyoreh, nor do we put wool into some sort of a kettle, right? Right, in order to absorb, okay, dye, for example. Ela kadei sheyiklot ha'ayin, unless it's possible, okay, for it to absorb almost immediately. Beit Hillel matirin, and Beit Hillel permits it. Now, new statement. Beit Shammai omrim, ein porsin mitzudot. We do not spread traps. Chaya for a wild animal, v'ofot for birds, okay, v'dagim or for fish. Ela kadei sheyitzodu miba'od yom, unless the hunter is able to do so while it's still day. In other words, before Shabbat starts. Beit Hillel matirim, and Beit Hillel, however, permits it. Beit Shammai omrim in another case. Ein omrim ein mochrin lenachri. They say that we do not sell goods to a Gentile. Ve'ein toanin imo, nor do we help him load his animal to carry the goods. Ve'ein magbihin alav, and we don't even lift things to help him. Right? Ela kadei sheyagia lemakom karov, unless he's going to a close place, namely to a destination that can be reached before Shabbat starts. Beit Hillel matirin, and Beit Hillel, however, permits it. Okay? Beit Shammai, again, omrim ein notnim orot la'avdan. Again, a prohibition on the part of Beit Shammai that we do not give hides to be worked by the tanner unless it can be completed by Shabbat. Velo kelim lekoves nachri, nor clothing to a Gentile launderer, ela kadei sheya'asu miba'od yom, unless it's possible for them to be done during the day. In other words, still finished before Shabbat. Ubekulam Beit Hillel matirin. And in all of these cases, Beit Hillel is permissive. Am im hashemesh, okay, until, okay, it's done before sunset. Now, on top of Yud Chet Amud Aleph, as we begin tomorrow's daf. Okay? Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, he says as follows. Remember, we did the previous two dafim last night, and that is recorded. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Nohagin hayu beit Abba, shahayu notnim klei lavan lechoves nachri. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel is citing a practice of his household. And remember, even though he was of the family of Hillel, house of the Nasi often took on more stringent practices like Beit Shammai. They would give their white clothing, right, to a Gentile launderer, Shlosha Yamim Kodem LeShabbat, 3 days before Shabbos. V'shavin elu ve'elu, and both Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai were in agreement. Shetoanin korat bait Chabad ve'igulei Hagat. But they were in agreement that the beam that would be placed inside an oil or a press for olive oil, okay, as well as the circular stone that was used in a wine press could be used and started on Erev Shabbat and continue working on its own into Shabbat. Now our Gemara. Man Tana, asks the Gemara, who is the Tana? Okay, Nitinat Mayim Lidyo, who teaches that adding water to the dry ink, Zohi Shriyatam, that this is what produces its, so to speak, absorbing, its mixing. Amar Rav Yosef Rebbe, says Rav Yosef, its Rebbe, has taught to Tanya in the following Braita, Echad notein et hakemach, ve'echad notein et hamayim. One puts in the dough, and another adds the water. Ha'acharon chayav divrei Rebbe. Then the second person, okay, in that situation, would be chayav. Rabbi Yossi Omer, eino chayav ad sheyigbal. But Rabbi Yossi appears to disagree by saying that it's only appropriate if the person needs the water dough mixture, in other words, needs the dough, okay, on Shabbat. Amar le Abaye, and Abaye responds to Rav Yosef, okay, the following. V'dilma, ad kan lo ka'amar Rabbi Yossi, ela b'kemach. Perhaps Rabbi Yossi's explanation only applied to the example of dough, davar gibulhu, because that is an item that needs kneading. Aval dio, the lav bar givulhu, whereas ink, which is not an item that necessarily needs mixing or kneading, ema l'chayev. I would say, why then would the person be chayev? And the Gemara now continues. Lo salka data. Don't even think the Tanya that. Why? The Tanya, because we have a Braita that teaches echad notein et ha'efer, echad notein et hamayim, that one puts in the ashes and another puts in the water. Ha'acharon chayav divrei Rebbe. If that's the case in Shabbat, then the second person again would be chayav, according to Rebbe, similar to what he said previously. But again, Rabbi Yossi b'Rebbe Yehuda, Omer ad sheigbal, until one needs it, mixes it. V'dilma ma'i efer. So perhaps here, what then is the place of the ashes? He asks.
No, April
Afar. Okay, it is dirt. Davar bulhu. And that is something that does need kneading, does need mixing. Vahatanya efer. But it was taught.
Yeah, let me get your email address.
Ashes. Vahatanya afar.
Okay.
But it was also taught earth, dust.
Mm-hmm.
So the Gemara says,
Okay.
Mide gabe hadade Tanya. Is it possible that both of these things were taught at the same time? Getting now to a new Braita.
Right.
Tanu Rabbanan, says the Braita. Potkin mayim legina. We can open a canal so that water will flow into the garden. Erev Shabbat im chashecha, on Friday after, okay, before it gets dark. Umit mal'et v'holechet kol hayom kulo. It fills and then it continues to flow throughout the day. Another example, umanichim mugmar tachat hakelim. Namely, we can place an incense burner under clothes in order to perfume them from the spices that are in the burner. Erev Shabbat, mit gamrin, v'hochin kol hayom kulo. Erev Shabbat, we can then burn the incense, and that will perfume the clothes throughout the day. Another example, umanichin gafrit, we can place sulfur, tachat hakelim, underneath silver vessels. Erev Shabbat im chashecha, on Friday before it gets dark. Mit gafrin, it sulfurizes them. In other words, it adjusts the color, okay? Improves polishes the silver, so to speak. V'holchim kol haShabbat kula. And it then will proceed throughout the entire Shabbat. Umanichim kilor. And now another example. And one may place a kind of eye salve, al gav ha'ayin, on the place of the eye, v'is palanit, and a kind of bandage or plaster, okay, al gabe makah, on a wound, erev Shabbat im chashecha, on Friday before dark, umitrapet holechet kol hayom kulo, and it continues to help the healing process and proceeds throughout the entire day. Aval, says the Gemara, but ein notnim chitin letoch harechayim shel mayim, but we're not permitted to put wheat kernels, okay, in water in the mill, the water mill. Ella b'chdei sheyitchanu miba'od yom, unless they are already ground up beforehand. My Tama, what's the reason? Amar Rabba, says Rabba, mipnei shemishma'at kol, because the grinding sound of the water mill is such that it makes a lot of noise, and that disturbs one's Shabbat. Amar le Rav Yosef. So Rav Yosef suggests, V'lema mar mishum shvitat kelim. Perhaps we should say that what the master really means to say is that the prohibition is due to the fact that we're commanded to allow utensils to rest also on Shabbat. The Tanya is taught elsewhere in a Braita, Ubechol asher amarti alechem tishmeru. Again, citing a pasuk, that with all these items, that one should allow them to rest. The Rabot Shvitat Kelim. This includes allowing utensils to rest. Ela Amar Rav Yosef, Mishum Shvitat Kelim. And thus, says Rav Yosef, the prohibition is to allow utensils to rest. V'hashta, says the Gemara. And now, the Amart LeBeit Hillel, Eat Laho Shvitat Kelim, that you say that the school of Beit Hillel does hold that there are times when we apply Shvitat Kelim, resting of utensils, as a prohibition for starting certain malachas, certain kinds of work on Erev Shabbat, D'oraita, and that is a Torah mandated, then what about the examples that were given previously when Beit Hillel gave permission? For example, Gafrit, Umugmar. Okay. What about that example? The issue with the dye, or the issue of the incense. Mai Tamasharu. What's the reason that they were permitted? The answer, says the Gemara, Mishum Delo Ka'avid Ma'aseh. Because the utensil itself, okay, is not doing actual work. Onein shel pishtan. What about the pile of flax? Mai tamar desharu. What's the reason that was permitted? Mishum delo avid maaseh. Because the pile of flax itself is not doing any work. Umeinach naicha. And it's just sitting there. Right? Another example. Sudat chaya va'of v'dagi. What about putting out traps regarding animals or birds or fish? The ka'avid ma'aseh, where we say that is the item doing some sort of a act? Ma'itama sharu. What's the reason then that Beit Hillel permitted this example? Hatam nami belechi v'kukare delo ka'avid ma'aseh. There, okay, we're talking about fish hooks, or we're talking about nets, and that item is not doing any real act. If the net, like an open basket, wide at one end and narrow in the other, is put in the water, the fish swimming by itself swims into this basket-like net and can't swim out. So the net itself is not considered doing an act of work. Vahashta, and here says the Gemara, the Amar Rav Oshaya, says Rav Oshaya, Amar Rav Asi, in the name of Rav Asi, Man Tana Shvitat Kelim Doraita. Who is it that says that the requirement to allow utensils to rest is Torah mandated? Beit Shammai. It's the school of Beit Shammai, below Beit Hillel, and not the school of Beit Hillel. The Beit Shammai, Bein Ka'avid Maaseh, Bein Delo Ka'avid Maaseh Asur. So for Beit Shammai, it seems to be that whether the utensil does any kind of act or does not do a kind of act, it is prohibited. The Beit Hillel, Afal Gav de Ka'avid Maaseh Shari. But for Beit Hillel, it would seem to imply, excuse me, that even though there is an act carried out on the part of the utensil, it still may be permitted to set it up Erev Shabbos and then allow it to continue to work out during Shabbos day. V'hashta da'amart de la Beit Shammai. And now that you've said that this is the view of Beit Shammai, Afal Gav de lo avid ma'aseh asur, that even though the utensil itself may not be doing an act, it is still prohibited. Ihachi, if that's the case, as we turn now to Yud Chet Amud Beis, Mugbar v'gafrit mai tama sharu Beit Shammai. What was the reason then that we might say that use of the incense burner or use of the sulfur might be permitted? The answer is Hatam Manach A'ara. That Beit Shammai has said that's because those are lying on the ground. Okay? Since they're lying on the ground, they're not in a vessel. So, at this point, Gemara asks, what about the following examples? Gigit, a tub in which one would put grain in order to ferment to produce beer, for example. Veneer, or some sort of a lamp. Ukdera, and a pot in which one might put some food. Vishipud, or a spit. Okay? What about these? Mai Tama Sharu Beit Shammai. Why would there be examples of Beit Shammai permitting? The Mafker Lao Afkure. Because there we would say in that case that the person has rendered that item a hefker, ownerless. And therefore what happens? That since it's ownerless, there's not a prohibition on the person. Now the Gemara is going to continue.
Do you have any idea what he's in charge?
Right? Okay.
All right.
Okay, let's go on,
Yeah.
please. Man Tana, Lahad Tana Rabbanan. Who is the Tana then? In a
Well,
new
last
statement,
time I had it done, I think it was like 200.
Ask the Gemara. Lo timale isha k'deira asasiyot v'turmasin. That a woman should not fill a pot,
with the back walls.
okay, with pounded wheat or
Right.
with other kinds of lupines, right? V'tenach b'toch hatanur, and put it into the
Very good.
oven, erev Shabbat
Thanks.
im
Great.
chashecha,
Sounds great. Thank you.
before
sir.
Shabbat
Perfect.
im dark, before it's dark. Ve'im natnan lemotzei
I
Shabbat,
don't get this.
and if he put it in, and it now continues, right, into the end of Shabbos, what happens? What's the knas, so to speak? What is the, want to call it punishment or penalty? Asurin b'chidei sheya'asu kiyotzebo. In other words, that individual must wait on Motzei Shabbat from partaking in that food for the amount of time it takes for the preparation of that food item. Okay? So, now the Gemara gives another example. Lo yimalei nachton chavit shel mayim. That a baker cannot fill a pot or a kettle or a barrel, let's say, of water, v'yaniach l'toch hatanur, and put it inside a oven. Erev Shabbat im chashecha. Before Shabbos, of course, before dark. Ve'im asav came, and if they did it, lemotzei Shabbat asurin b'chdei sheyasu. Likewise here too, okay? The penalty being that they must wait on Erev Shabbat, okay, until the amount of time that it took to heat up that water. Now, says the Gemara, Lema Beit Shammai v'lo Beit Hillel. Shall we say that this is the view of Beit Shammai, right, and not the view of Beit Hillel? Afilu tema Beit Hillel. You might even say it could be according to Beit Hillel as well. Gezerah shema yichte b'gachalim. And here comes a second concern, okay? Namely, we are concerned, says Beit Hillel, therefore our decree is based on the idea that a person will stir or stoke the coals. In other words, they will do some activity to either hasten, okay, the cooking process. Right? Now, Ihachi, says the Gemara, if that's the case, Mugmar v'gafrit, Nami ligzor, then in regards to the incense holder, or in regards to the sulfur, in those situations, we should also therefore require a decree as well. Right? Hatam lo machte laho. There we say that the rabbis, it does not stoke it. Right? They would not stoke it. They would not stir it. The imachte, because if they were to stoke or stir the coals, salik baho kutra, then it would produce a smoke, v'kashe lahu, and it would be difficult. It would ruin those items. Let's go on. Onin shel pishtan. What about the example we saw of the pile of flax? Nami ligzor. Shouldn't we make a decree on that as well then? Gemara answers, Hatam, kevan dekasha lahozika. If we did stir it up, okay, the wind would come and affect the flax. Lo maglule. Therefore, we did not want them to be revealed, available. Semer liore. What about the example of wool in the kettle? Ligzor. Should again a decree be made? Amar Shmuel. Says Shmuel, Biyore Akura. We're talking about a yore, a kettle that's been removed from the fire. V'nichush shema megayes ba. Okay, maybe we should suspect, says the Gemara, that he's going to stir it. Ba'akura v'tocha. No, this is a pot that was removed but also sealed, particularly with a kind of a glue or cement. Ahashta, da amar mar. And now that the master has said, Gezerah shema yichte b'gachalim, now in this new statement, where the master says, our concern is that the decree is established, excuse me, lest the person stir the coals. Hai kadera chaita. Maybe this is a pot about with raw meat. Shari la'anucha. Then that's permitted. Erev Shabbat im chashecha b'tanura. To put it into on Erev Shabbat in the in the oven, so to speak. Ma'itama. What's the reasoning? Kevan de lo chaze la'orta. It's because it's not going to be, excuse me, ready, available for him, suitable for him for that night. Okay? Asuche misachdate mine. Okay, if that's the case, if it was raw meat, all right, and it's taking a long time to cook, his mind sort of is taken off the issue, and therefore he's not going to be apt to try to stir the coals to move along the cooking. And he doesn't come to stir the coals. So the Gemara, however, tells us, Ubashil Shapir Dami. But when it's already cooked, that's a different situation. That's better. Bashil velo bashil asur. So whether if it's cooked already or if it's not cooked, it's forbidden. So the Gemara then says, V'ishada be, and if he leaves it, right? Garma chaya shapir dami. In other words, if he tosses into this mixture a raw bone, which is going to increase the cooking time, then that's acceptable. That's all right. Vahashta de amar mar. And now that master has said to us, kol mide de kashele zika, those situations where we saw that the wind would cause problems, lo megalile, that they didn't want to reveal, in other words, they didn't want the flax to be open. Hi, bisra de gadya. We might compare this to meat of a lamb, right? Visharik shapir dami, right? And that when the oven is sealed, that's better. Debarcha velo sharik asur. Whereas if it's the meat of a ram and it's not sealed, that would be forbidden. Degadya velo sharik. What about lamb meat and the pot or the oven is not sealed? Debarcha v'sharik. Well, what about if it's ram meat and it is sealed? Right? So we have an intermediate situation there. Rav Ashi Shari. Rav Ashi says it's permitted. The Rav Yirmiyah Midifte Asir. But Rav Yirmiyah disagrees and prohibits. Ula Rav Ashi, says the Gemara, the Shari. And in regarding Rav Ashi, who permits it, right? We raise this following Braita. Ein solin basar. Braita teaches us that we are not permitted to roast basar, meat, but sale, onion, ubeitza, or an egg, ela kadeshi yitzolu miba'od yom, unless it is to be roasted, right, while it's still Friday during the day. And the Gemara says, Hatam dibarcha velo sharik. There, he says that was talking about meat from a ram, and the oven was not sealed. Now we've got another version of this same discussion. Ika da amre. There are those, however, who say it this way. The gadya, in regards to lamb meat, which is of course softer, bein sharik, bein lo sharik, whether the oven is sealed or not sealed. Shapir dami, right? That seems quite appropriate. Debarcha, in regards to ram meat, nami also, visharik, and the oven is sealed. Shapir dami, that's acceptable. That's okay. Kiplige, where do they argue? Debarcha velo sharik, where it's meat from the ram and the oven is not sealed. The Rav Ashi Shari, where in that situation Rav Ashi permits it. The Rav Yirmiyah midifte asir, and Rav Yirmiyah from Difte forbids it. Ula Rav Ashi Deshari, and as far as Rav Ashi permitting it, what about the Braita that says as follows, Ein solin basar batzel ubeitza? Well, we don't roast meat, onion, or egg, ela kadeshi yitzolu miba'od yom, unless it's to be done from during the day. Hatam bevisra agumre. There we're talking about meat that's roasted right over the coals. Amar Ravina, says Ravina, what about the following example? Hai kara, there's a certain kind of gourd, chaya, in the raw form, shapir dami, that would seem to be acceptable. Kevan de kashe le zika, because there, if the wind comes, okay, it's going to ruin the gourd. Kibasra de gadya dami, and we say that would be more like the meat of the lamb, and it's comparable to that. Okay, we'll go a little bit further, right? Tanu Rabbanan, a new Braita. Beit Shammai Omrim, Lo Yimkur Adam Cheftzo Lenachri, that one should not sell an object to a non-Jew, Velo Yashilenu, nor can he loan it, an object to a non-Jew, Velo Yilonu, nor can he loan money to the non-Jew, Velo Yiten Lo B'matana, nor can he give it to him as a gift, El Kadei Sheyagia Lebeito. On Erev Shabbat, one could not do these things unless the Gentile will reach his final destination of his home before Shabbat. Beit Hillel Omri, and Beit Hillel says, Kadei Sheyagia Lebayit Hasamuch Lechoma. And Beit Hillel says, no, it's so long as he can reach the edge of the town, of the city, and put those items, store them, okay, in someplace there in the walled city. Rabbi Akiva Omer, says Rabbi Akiva, Kadei sheyitzei mipetach beito. It's really once he goes out of the home of the Jew who loaned him or gave him those items. Now, Koren suggests, as does others, that Rabbi Akiva is not disagreeing with Beit Hillel here, but really giving a clarification of Beit Hillel. Namely, the implication is that Beit Hillel is saying once the Gentile leaves with that item that you've given him, loaned him, etc., etc., it's no longer your responsibility. Amar Rabbi Yossi b'Rabbi Yehuda, Hein Hein divrei Rabbi Akiva. Indeed, these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Hein Hein divrei Beit Hillel. Indeed, these are the words of the Beit Hillel. Lo ba Rabbi Akiva ela lefaresh divrei Beit Hillel. And Rabbi Akiva only comes to give a clarification on Beit Hillel. And we're going to stop there for today. This has been recorded on the cloud, and as was yesterday's shiurim, where we did 2 dafim previously, and as I indicated, this is the daf for tomorrow. Right? Have a good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for your participation.